Hello and welcome to my channel. My name's Ali and this here is Arnie, and in today's video I'm going to be answering the most googled questions about chinchillas. Now I know that this isn't an original idea, a lot of pet YouTubers have been doing this type of thing, but I thought it'd be interesting to do one on chinchillas to see what are the most googled questions and see whether I can answer them or not. So the most googled question that comes up is, do chinchillas bite? I have actually done a full video on this subject, but to cut a long story short, yes, chinchillas can bite. Like all animals, they can bite. However, in my experience at least, they don't bite very often at all. Very, very rarely. Now they do nibble at you, and I don't think that's the same as biting. I've owned chinchillas for 23 years and I've bred them for nearly as long as that, so about 20 years. I've only been bitten where it's actually broken the skin twice ever. And they were both because the chinchilla was ill and I was taking them to the vet, so that explains that. Now they can nibble at you, which I don't consider a bite. Nibbling is often quite affectionate. They can give quite short, sharp bites, but they're not like breaking the skin, kind of like vicious bites. So in reality, they don't bite that often. Obviously, it does depend on the personality of your chinchilla as well. So the next question on the list is, do chinchillas smell? Now this can be quite confusing because online it often says that chinchillas are odourless and all this kind of thing. Yes, the chinchillas themselves don't smell, and although they can release scent sometimes, but that gets dispersed very, very quickly, and some chinchillas never release scent. What does smell is their urine. Their urine does smell. It's not as strong as some other animals' urine, but it does still smell. And the best way to control that odour is to actually clean your chinchilla's cage very, very regularly. Make sure you clean it thoroughly, change the bedding frequently. It's not that bad at all, and it is very, very manageable. So yes, although some people will say that the actual animal themselves is odourless, yes, but the urine does smell slightly. So the next question is, do chinchillas shed? And the answer to this question is yes, they do. They actually release dead fur all the time, but once every 6 months or so they do go through a major shed, sometimes called priming. So when your chinchilla's going through this, they may look a little bit more tatty than normal. They may have a few clumps of dead fur sticking out. People that show and exhibit their chinchillas actually groom out the dead fur with a special chinchilla comb. And it's amazing how much fur comes out when they actually do this. So if you're not showing or exhibiting your chinchillas, then you don't need to groom your chinchilla's fur, because really when the chinchilla has a dust bath, it normally takes care of all that dead fur. It loosens up that dead fur and releases it. So you don't really need to groom them if you're not showing them. So it can result in fur being found all over the chinchilla's cage and also all over the room that you have the chinchilla in. And it can be a bit of a nightmare to get out things like fleece, but it's just one of the things of having a chinchilla. You've got to expect it. They will release this dead fur. So the next question I've got on the list is, do chinchillas make good pets? Now I have got a whole couple of videos about this, the pros and cons of owning chinchillas and why I personally think they make good pets. But yeah, it really does depend on your own circumstances and what you actually want from a pet. So if you want something that's cute and cuddly, that's going to sit in your lap and, you know, want to be held and cuddled, a chinchilla will not be right for you, because most chinchillas are actually very independent and don't want to be held. But you can still have fantastic bonds with chinchillas, so it all depends on what you're looking for in a pet, really, as to whether they make a good pet or not. It's completely subjective as to what you're actually looking for in a companion. So the next question is, do chinchillas like to be handled? And I think I've answered this one a little bit with the previous answer. And the answer to this is, generally, as a rule, really not. They don't really like being handled. A lot of them are very, very independent and prefer it on their terms. They don't really like being picked up. There are exceptions to the rule. For example, some of my chinchillas really don't mind being handled, but some of them really, really do mind being handled. If your chinchilla doesn't like being handled, you just have to accept that, and you can still have an incredible bond with your chinchilla even if it doesn't like being handled. However, even if your chinchilla does like being handled, I would say handle them for short periods of time. Don't handle them for long periods of time, because they can overheat extremely quickly. So if you're handling them for a long time, your actual body heat is going to make them extremely warm. So yeah, so even if they do like being handled, don't handle them for that long. Keep it short. The next question I've got on my list is, what do chinchillas eat? And in captivity, chinchillas really eat a good quality chinchilla pellet and hay. Specifically, I like to give my chinchillas Timothy hay, and that is it. That is their diet. Anything else is considered as treat and has to be given in very, very, very small quantities and really in moderation, so not every day. Yes, so pellets and Timothy hay. Their diet is really, really simple. So the next question on my list is, how long do chinchillas live for? Now, this is a bit of a grey area, because they can live up to 20 plus years, which means that it is a huge commitment if you're going to take on a chinchilla. A huge commitment, because they live such a long time. However, some can live as little as 10 or 11 years and be considered old, because it all depends on the genetics of the chinchilla and whether they have health issues or not. And sometimes they can just die of heart attacks, like humans can. They can die young, they can die old. I think the oldest chinchilla recorded so far is 29 years in the Guinness Book of World Records, but some people said they've had them live longer than that. But that's just the Guinness, that's the one that's been recorded, it's 29 years. So that's already the suggestions that came up on my Google search when I searched for chinchillas. They're the most common ones anyway. So anyway, I hope this has been helpful for you. Thank you for watching. Goodbye for now. See you in another video soon. Bye bye.